going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Rise Podcast. I'm your host. My name's Hanny Today, man, I got a very, very special episode, man. I got three gentlemen right here that are killing the game in real estate. I mean, some of these guys are doing 7 figures, 8 figures. I don't know what the numbers are, but so I got Marlou Merilles. Marlou is an entrepreneur, real estate investor. We got Bryce Kaminski, real estate investor. I think he's been in the game for so many years, Bryce. I forgot the years, but
the GOAT.
There you go. And then we got Jason as well too. Jason is a flipper. I think he quit your job like 2 years ago to go all in on real estate. So, man, welcome. Thanks for being on the show. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem, man. Glad to be here.
Awesome, man. So tell me, man, what is it like to be in real estate, man, and to be able to do this for so many years and still keep going? Because I know, Marlu, you've been 6 years in the game now.
Yeah.
And then Bryce,
11.
like almost 11 years. And then Jason, you're just...
Full-time for about 1.5 years and about 6-7 years part-time before that, so 4 total.
So what's that mindset like to be in the game for so many years, man? Because I'm just trying to like, how do you just keep getting up every day to do this thing? Like what's, you know?
Get more leads.
Get marketing, man.
If you don't have leads, it doesn't feel like you're in the game. So if you don't have that, whatever it is you're doing to generate leads, that gets you excited. That keeps you up. And like if you have a couple of days where you don't get leads, you're like, am I even in real estate? Like, am I even doing this? So whatever it is that you do to get leads, there's so many different things you can do, but that's how you stay engaged in the business, is when the business is coming at you and you can't like take a day off. You're at the beach and it's like ring, get a Facebook lead. Like you see those reels where it's like an entrepreneur dating an entrepreneur and you're always on the vacation on the phone, at dinner on the phone. And I think that's the tough part for real estate too, is at the same time, like you make your own hours, but also when you're marketing, they make your hours too. All of a sudden, like I remember one time I got a call at like it must have been 12:30. Yeah, just likely spam. But it was like 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning off of like a mailer, and I picked it up, and it was just a crazy guy on the phone. But it was a lead. He's talking about his house, and I guess at 1 o'clock in the morning, he's contemplating if he can still own it. Like that's when the marketing should hit. Like I wish we could just set our Facebook ads to play between like 10 and 11 in the morning, just all night, like an infomercial, because that's really where that moment hits. In the middle of the day, you see Marlu's ad or our ads or your ads or whatever. It might not hit like when you're thinking about selling. When you're lying there in bed and you're broke and you're just like, I need to get out of this. The water's leaking in on the ceiling and you're like, maybe I should call Marlu, and you fill out the form at 2 a.m.
Some do.
Yeah. What's that like for you though, Jason? Because you said you just transitioned into it like 1 year ago. What made you decide to be like, bro, I'm just go all in on this, like,
Yeah, the all-in thing, I mean, I think it was just eating me alive for a few years trying to do both, and I really much value like not being too risky and going like slow and all this good stuff. So I think there's just different styles for different people, but eventually you still have to jump, right? And I mean, it's a long game. You kind of eat what you kill, right? And so I think it comes down to consistency. Like you're only as good as your last deal. So you might have a great deal, but then can you do that again next month or then the month after? And so yeah, I think for me, like the transition, once I actually made the commitment, it was like no big deal. It was great. But I mean, yeah, you look ahead, you're like, okay, well, 2 years from now, where am I getting paid from, right? And I think for someone like myself, that's part of the strategy is I always have my short term, my mid term, and sort of my long term. Like, where's my money coming from, right? And so
you have a pretty high paying job too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the hard part when you have a great job. It's harder to quit. So.
How much were you making in your job?
Like 140K plus company vehicle, plus benefits, plus RSP,
plus. So maybe 200K.
Yeah,
in non-exact.
And it was very flexible too, and there too, it was a great network. Like I had a lot of responsibility, a lot of influence, and so it's like that alone has a lot of value, and so it's hard to quit. But I mean, the freedom and just like the purpose that you get from building your own thing. I think that's really the.
You got a pretty big family too. I know I heard your story. You talk about how like you got like married earlier or something. You found your girl. Yeah. So is that what kind of, I'm guessing now as you get older you reflect back on like what do you want to do in the future? Is that what it really is? Or?
Yeah, I mean it's like that balance of like you're trying to provide an awesome life. Like I have 3 kids and one on the way. And so it's like I'm trying to provide for them now. They're doing sports and dirt biking and we have an awesome yard out in the bush and all these things, but then you're also trying to balance like, hey, how do we grow wealth and, you know, invest and buy real estate and stuff. So there's all these things. I think that's part of being an entrepreneur. It's not meant for everyone. Maybe only 1% of people actually succeed as an entrepreneur. And so you have to be okay to fight that fight every day and to you know, use all your resources, whether it's your network or your time or knowledge, all these different things. But it's just constantly shifting your strategy, putting out marketing, meeting people.
Do you find you get more time with your kids now or before?
I would say the quality of time is better, right? Like obviously I still work like a dog, but it's like I can take them with me or I can be home with them during the day, go to their thing, and then in the evening I go and look at a deal when they're in bed or whatever. So yeah, absolutely. It's just much better. Even just for them to get a watch, like Marlu, it's probably very similar for you, right? Your kids are very involved. They get to see what you're doing and you get to teach them like how to not have like a broke mindset right from the beginning kind of thing. So
tell me, man, what's that transition like for you, man? You've been in the game. You're talking about consistency, man. It's how you just keep, because a lot of haters do, like as you get up to like 2, 3, 4, people start hating on you. Like you get to it because now you get,
and in your advertising too. I saw that.
Like
every day, man.
You're
Every
getting
day.
so many ads out. People are like seeing you, and it's just like
They get annoyed.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So how do you play with that, man? How do you?
Just like what Jason said, you gotta, for me, it's the why, right? It's always the why. I've talked to Bryce about it. It's my family that keeps me going every single day, and it's just a kid that wanted to dream big and to be out from what most of the people do every single day.
yeah.
And I don't think I can be there. Even when I was working, right? I'm like, fuck, why do I have to do this again?
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, I'm getting tired, man. So.
But you've always been hustling too.
I've
Even
always
when
been
you had
hustling.
a job,
So
you were doing that. What
exactly.
was that? Chicken thing?
Yeah,
Chicken livers.
the chicken intestine, right? So I was selling that to Filipino events, right? It's just, I wanted to be in business. That was the goal. So I'm glad that it all worked out. Put in the hard work consistently, and the rest is history.
How does it feel though, looking at that stock, like when you first incorporate, like when you in the beginning, like when you were nobody,
Yeah.
and as you transition, now you're looking at yourself like, yo, you've created a lot of value, right? People don't know when you're in a job, you're just working for someone else. Like you're not, no equity, no ownership.
You can't. Like we're gonna sit around here. We're gonna talk about entrepreneurship and being in business, but at the same time, like a lot of people don't want this.
No.
Not, and maybe they want this, but once they do it, they probably don't want this because there's a lot of people who are happy just getting their $4,000 paycheck every 2 weeks, and then they're making like
4,000. That's a good paycheck.
Yeah, like let's say you work at like Hydro, like my brother.
2,000 right now is
Well, no, like we're
average.
talking about. Well, those people want to get out.
Right.
But there's that comfort zone where people make about 80. Now it's probably about 80 to 100K, where it's like you were on the other side of it, so you already knew what you had to make, and you knew that you had to go and like make that to get out of that because it had to replace it. But there's a bunch of people that want to get into it, but at the same time, we can't be faulting anyone who just goes to work. Like that's actually harder. Like we have it pretty good. If you can go to work and do 50 hours for someone and just get that paycheck, but they're done at 5. They're done at 5 o'clock.
Yep.
Saturday and Sunday may even be theirs to have entirely. And they've probably got like the dental and all that stuff. So you can't hate on that particular frame. because it's not this isn't for everyone.
That's
but
right.
it is for people who are at that and they're just like, they're kind of wringing their hands and they're just like,
I want more.
I want more.
You
I want
know
more than that.
I want more.
And they're willing to sacrifice Saturday probably for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And they're willing to go before work or after work. Because, you know, when I used to train with Black Card back in the day, people would come in with a full-time job. They're like, when am I supposed to do my realtor calls? When am I supposed to do it? I'm like,
Fucking
well,
do it every time.
you call when you can. And, you know, this goes out to the people that are thinking like maybe they can't do it with the job that they have. You call the realtors when you're off work.
Exactly.
And the ones that pick up are the ones you work with. And the ones that don't work in that time don't work for you. There's more realtors out there. So there's always a group of people hustling like you if you want to get into the business.
Yeah.
But don't make your job the thing that's stopping you from doing it. If your belief is that, oh, well, I can't do real estate unless I'm doing it like during the day. It's better. It's easier. Yeah. But it's also possible. Like you can do the majority of your work as a part-time real estate investor on Saturday.
Can we drop the mic? That's a good one, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're leaving. That's it. That's it.
You know, he said it all, man. That's it. I'm going.
Yeah, I think.
eventually.
Yeah. No, I think what Bryce is talking about is just like, yeah, man. The percentage of people who are interested and those who are like committed. There's a lot of people who are interested, and you talk about like, because we got a real estate.
You don't have to be insane like us, though. These are 3 insane, 4 insane, 5 insane people.
Yeah.
But you could just do like 2 deals a year, and you could use like a line of credit, and you could keep your job, and you could buy some rentals, and you could be in the game. You don't have to go all the way in the deep end and like dive in. You could just play around in the shallow end, and you know, when the neighbor's thinking about selling their house, talk to them about it. Find out what the deal is. You know, like it's a lead business. You know, a lot of people that are in trades don't understand that they can talk to the owners about the property. Like if you're in door-to-door sales, like when's the last time you guys went door knocking?
Me?
Still.
Actually door knocking 6 hours straight.
Oh, 6 hours. No. Yeah, a couple of doors.
But there's guys, like I was out in the field the other day and I bumped into the leaf filler guys. You know, the guys that put the like grates on the gutters to keep the leaves out.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, you're talking to like 150 people a day. Why don't you ask them more than just like, do you want leaf gutters? No? Okay, bye. What about the roof? What about the yard? What about what's going on? What about what's that neighbor's house? Like it's an information. Like sometimes, I don't know if you feel like this, I feel like a detective sometimes. You're driving around, sitting in the car, you got your glasses on, you're like, that's weird. What's the deal with that house? And you just sit there and look at it, check it up on assessment, go to the city, check it out, knock on the neighbors' doors, leave a letter. Like they're out there. We're driving past them all the time. But stop. If you really want to be in this game, it's a leads game, right? But it doesn't have to be insane. You don't have to be insane like us, but you do have to be in the pool to play in the pool. So you have to get at least in and like splash around. Otherwise, you're just like everyone else at a party standing around watching the people in the pool.
Let's talk. Let's talk about, because there's a lot of people who want to get into this game, but then there's people who are already in the game. Talk about focus, bro, because I think that's one that I'm. You know, I'll be honest, that's one that I have like a big challenge with, right? Because when you got so many different ideas coming at your way, because when you talk about these people, because before, let's say when I was in the phone business, I would look at houses, people, I would go to these neighborhoods and I'd be like, so I might have talked to a seller, crazy enough, there was a seller who was selling me devices who I ended up finding out another investor was talking to, she ended up selling him their house and he ended up making a crazy amount of money, right? Because I didn't know, right? So talk about why real estate is like why it's like, because it's a high ticket sales. It's a big, you know what I mean? But the solving problems portion of it, like people are going through like tough times, divorce, foreclosure and all that. And what would you tell someone who's like dabbling in and in, but you see the potential here is way high. Like, you know what I mean? You can sit across guys like Marlu who are doing X amount, right? But why focus on this? Because everybody wants to get in this business. Like a lot of people are hungry, they're interested, right? But what do you tell them to like? You can't tell them to quit their job now, like, you know what I mean?
Bro,
So
for me,
I do tell them to quit their job. Save some money up and quit your job.
Yeah.
And you know what? You can always go and get another job.
Yeah.
You might even be able to just go back to your old job because it's like some corporation and they turn in people every day and they're like, oh, this guy already has a job. You can go back to it. But you don't have to go crazy on it. The focus thing is, if you're one of those people who's like, oh, I'm going to do drop shipping now, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that. Like, we all have great ideas. If you're thinking about doing something other than your job, you probably get these ideas all the time. Maybe you get a little bit high and then you have tons of ideas, and they're not all good. But you know, I was watching this thing, Alex Hormozi says, just when you get a great idea, write it down and close the book. And then when you have time for new ideas, go and look at that fucking book and then open it up and be like, oh, maybe that's a dumb idea. All of these are dumb ideas. I'm glad I didn't waste any time on that because there's tons of opportunity. Go and start an AI SaaS business or some nonsense. It's trendy. Real estate, they've been doing it. Like they've been doing real estate since it was serfs and knights, where they had a feudal system where people would work on their farm and they'd get rent. They'd pretty much work the yard so that they'd give, you know, food to the knight who owned the property, and you'd get property. And so property, the exchange of where to live, like sometimes people come to me and they're like, oh, I'm in car sales. I'm like, okay, car sales, real estate, and then what? Which one's going to still be around when the market hits the toilet?
Yeah, 100%. Well, what's your your thoughts on that, Marlu?
Bro, huh?
What's your thoughts on that? About the focus?
Well, I mean, anyone can get into any business beside real estate. For me, whatever you feel like, right? You can get into any business. You mobile, cars, real estate, selling this for a living, right? But you have to focus on one thing at a time to grow that. And whatever success looks like to you, and you're contented on that success, that feels like it's good for you, then do your thing, right? But focus on one thing so it can grow big. Doesn't matter which one it is, but put your energy, your effort, your money into one thing, and that thing will grow.
Last one, to tell me,
Mindset,
you were part of the Black Card back in the day. Why is mentorship so important? Like, we got an event coming up, right? June 19. Why should people be investing into themselves? Because a lot of people have ideas. We're talking about focus, but they don't have access. They're not willing to invest. So why should people come out, network, and, you know what I mean?
Mentor has been the biggest, what do you call that? Turnaround in my life. Like, it turned my life 360 degrees from where I'm at to where I am today. I always tell people it is one of the best money I've spent in my entire life. Having that coach and guiding me to whatever I want. But let's not focus on the mentor. Mentor is great, but you're gonna have to talk to yourself if you want more, right? Because even he's doing great. He's a great mentor, but if you're not putting the work yourself, this shit is nothing. You know what I mean? So as a person, you have to want more, and you gotta put in the work. Plus his guidance is just +1.
Yeah,
that's right.
So it's pretty much like put it together, and then
you know if my mentor wasn't there, I don't know. It's like what Kanye West said. I don't know if I didn't win. Right? So if I didn't have that mentor, I don't know if I would still be here.
Well, it's an execution. Like people are gonna come to the event. They're gonna listen to Marlou, right? They're gonna listen to him during the event, and he's gonna, you know, you've done probably better than most. You're like top 1%.
I would hope so.
Well, you're probably top 1%. People see you've got it together. People don't see that you used to hand the flyers out with your kids in year
From
one.
day one, I still have the first picture that I took with my son and my nephew, the day that I tried. And just because I watched the video that Stefan had, create your own marketing and
Go
drop
and
it
do
off.
it.
Bro, I dropped 5 or I think 10. I just printed it off my basement printer. And I was like, you know what? Let's just try it. Elijah, Ethan,
Let's go.
let's go. That's it. From day one, bro, I had that picture to remind me and also to remind Elijah that, hey, we started here. Because I always show it to him. I'm like, look, this is with you when you started and I started. So,
Well, the thing I'd say about Marlou is like I've trained tons of people, probably north of 300, 400 people. And Marlou had a different coach, but he trained in the same business model as the things that we trained. And the difference between him and the people who didn't win is he did it what the coach said. Like mentorship is worthless if you are challenging what the coach is saying. Why would you question what they're telling you to do? First of all, you probably paid like 10 grand. So, and then you're
10
like,
grand,
first time,
20 grand.
whatever it was the first time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 20 grand the first time with
Bro,
bronze.
that's, but I borrowed that money, okay? It wasn't even my money.
But he took the information
Exactly.
and actually did the things. Because I get so many students on the call. I didn't do my thing, but Marlou always went and did the thing, raised the money, got the deal, did the marketing, did the thing.
And last thing, I want to add on what he was talking about marketing earlier, right? I'll give you an example. My mentor, my coach, I printed 10,000 pieces like that in a week because I wanted to market, and I was still working full time, right? And you know, sometimes you get tired, you don't want to do it, you get lazy, right? So my mentor said, "Hey, how's marketing? How's the flyer dropping?" I'm like, "Sean, I'm tired. I haven't done it in 4 days." And it's like, let me tell you one thing, Marlu. You know those flyers that sits in your house? If they're not outside, you're not gonna be making money. And that thing clicked. And I was like, what the fuck?
40K on that first thing on Logan.
Yeah. So I was like, what the hell? He's so
And
right.
everyone was talking about it when he did it.
He was so right.
40 grand on what, on Logan?
Yeah, first deal
first
assignment,
deal.
or did you
I
close
closed
the list?
on it.
Closed the
on
list.
it. So I put my marketing every single day, 200 flyers a day. I committed myself day in and day out, before or after work, 6 a.m. or 6 p.m.
It's like a workout routine. Like you're
That's
not
it.
going to get gains if you're not
But
doing
guys,
marketing.
appreciate
That's the hotel? Is that the
June 19, 6 to 9 p.m.
6 to 9 p.m., man?
Click the link down below.
Business there's some things in your business you can't pay people to do. So like when we're doing our marketing thing, if I pay you by the hour, you're not answering the phone for your own flyers. If you're going to go out for free and hand out your own flyers and have your phone number on it, you don't get paid by the hour. You get paid on commission, so that you don't just let those leads, because I'm going to pay all the paper. Let's say you're working for me and I say, I'm going to give you all the marketing supplies that you could possibly, I'm going to send you to war, but you're going to go to war and you're going to pick up your own flyer phone calls. Okay? They're going to pick them up because they don't get paid nothing for doing it. They get paid only on what they can get. If you pay someone by the hour to answer the phone on their own marketing pieces, they're just going to let it go because they already got their $20. But they don't realize, like people, like this is how we used to run our marketing thing. So if you want to start a little marketing company, we started it. First person was, you'd be paid by the hour and you'd hand out my flyer with my phone number on it. And I'd know you're on this street on this side, so I could give you your bonus if it hit, right? And then eventually they'd realize that the people like me and the people on commission were making a lot more than them. And they're like, how do I get in on that? So then what we would do is we'd say, look, if you put your name on it and you answer the phone and you get me in the door, that's worth like 10% of the deal instead of $20 an hour. And so then we move them to first delivering with their phone number on it, then answering the phone, then finally going and getting the thing and getting half the deal by actually getting the paperwork, doing the opening meeting, so that all I have to do is then either buy it myself or sell it to someone who wants to buy it. But the interesting thing about paying people by the hour is if you just want like a breath on a mirror job, like dropping flyers, you pay them by the hour. And so at 4 o'clock or whenever they're done, they don't care. But if you expect them to pick up phone calls at 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, they're only going to do that if it's commission. They're just not going to do the other thing.
That's a whole company right there. That's why people like, agencies exist.
I put the whole system, I'm writing that wholesaling book. So when it comes out, it'll be like chapter, like I think 27 or something like that, where it's how we built that business, how we built that flyer business. And just, we were doing 2,000 pieces a week. We had 2 teams we were moving 8 people a day, every day. We did like half the city in like 3 months. It was crazy. That's where we landed. I think we did just short of like 200,000 in 3 months.
Whoa. Just
because it was marketing, leads, volume, closes. Like we would sweep the whole West End in 2 days. Every crappy house, they'd walk up all the way to Notre Dame, all the way back down to Portage, all the way to Notre Dame, all the way back down to Portage. And they were doing, a few hundred pieces each. And, if each guy is doing 50 an hour and we're out for 2 hours and we have 8 people, we're burning through all our marketing by Thursday and we're reprinting. We had bought every yellow pad of paper in the city. Every Staples, if you went to Staples in that time, you couldn't get it. We even went there, found them on the website, went to all the Staples, bought out all the yellow paper. No one else could even have the yellow paper. We had bought it all. So it was like, that was the scale that we ran that thing on, because I had tested it. I knew it worked on a small scale. Me and Jason could go and do it, and then that would be the scale. But when we blew it up, it still worked. It was still the same scale model. So it's like when you find marketing that works, start scaling. See how much you can scale it before it breaks. Break the calendar. That's what we always used to say at Blackheart. Like, scale it until it breaks the calendar, and then figure out how to build the calendar bigger.
Yeah. So tell me, Bryce, I know you specialize in acquisition, finding deals, wholesale. Jason, on the other hand, you're doing a lot of flips. That's kind of what you've been focused a lot on. How many projects you done this year so far, Jason? Like just flips?
Yeah, so this year I have, I would say, 3 projects, like 2 fully completed and 1 I'm just taking possession of now. So, but my projects are quite large. Like both.
You're the out of town guy.
Yeah, both projects, the rental budgets were like $220K roughly. Like the one I'm taking on now is similar. So it's like the one I'm taking on now is like 2,000 square feet, 6 beds, 3.5 bath. It's been vacant for years, water in the basement. We're basically redoing everything. But, the margin is much bigger on a job like that. Like 200K, 150K. This one I'm looking at now is actually 5 acres. And so there's a good chance we might be able to split off 2 acres and sell the lot for like 150 to 190K, just the lot itself, after making money on the flip already. So I kind of like, my model is a little bit different. I do very little marketing. I look mostly at opportunity. Like I'm patient and I'm like waiting for opportunities to come. And then I see, what can I do with it? Like, how do I make this, whether it's a rental or a flip, or I wholesale it to somebody else, that kind of thing. So, there's so many different ways you can play.
Have you done any in the city this year?
I just did a burr in Transcona, so we kept that one.
How many, you got rentals as well too?
Yeah, not a ton of rentals, but about 5 or 6 doors. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then your long-term play is like to grow your flipping business. That's kind of like your.
Honestly, the flipping and wholesaling is just to bring in active revenue, and then the long-term play is to buy as much real estate as possible. Whether that's multifamily, whether that's like commercial, single-family burrs, that kind of thing. Yeah. But that's kind of what we're.
Because wholesaling and flipping is not a retirement plan.
It's a treadmill.
It's a treadmill. And that's the thing, like for me too, it's a vicious cycle of like
how are you gonna get out?
Lifestyle creep, right? Like you make more money, and now you just naturally start spending more money. And so it's like you got to find a way to build something for the long term as well, which is why I like flipping and wholesaling, because if I want to keep one, I can, right? So it's just like they're vertically integrated. It's like they're connected, so you can just feed it to different sides of the business. What I'm also kind of working on too is like scaling up my own renovation company as well, so I can do my own flips, but then also do projects for other people, because I think in the next 10-15 years, it's just the demand for skilled labor is going to go up and up, and not just like a one-man handyman show, but people that can actually take on a whole project. I think there's going to be a big need for that going forward, and so that's kind of what I'm trying to scale up going forward as well.
So if someone wants to start, because flipping houses is not like a one and done. Like there's a lot of numbers that go into it. You gotta like buy at the right price. You know what I mean? So what's been like your biggest, let's say, challenge so far, like in the business? Like what's been like the thing that's like, you know, like these things are, you know what I mean? Of course, I'll probably say the time that goes into making that transformation happen, because it's a lot of hours, right? I've seen some stuff, you're staying up late nights getting projects done.
Yeah. You know, it's weird. Like, honestly, you just get to the point where you're just like obsessed. Like, there's just no other option. Like, you make a decision to buy a house, and it's just like, no matter what, this will be the right decision. Like, I'm not going to sit there and cry and be like, oh, it took me 4 months to get a permit, or this thing happened, or, you know, oh, I didn't know I'd have to do this, or the inspector screwed me over. It's just like, no matter what, this will be the right answer. I'm going to figure it out, right? And that's where sometimes you have to be creative. Sometimes you just have to brute force, go there and do the work yourself. But that's what I'm very passionate about. I mean, I'm patient, and so I try and avoid putting myself in situations where it's going to be even close to like dicey. A lot of things have to go wrong on my project before we even get close to losing money, kind of thing. Just because that's just the model I run. I find it's just less stressful. There's guys out there doing way more volume than me, but you know, every third one might break even or even lose money, right? So it's just kind of
or something.
Yeah, exactly. To me, it's not worth the stress.
So you think it's a business model? There's a lot of people like, because how many guys are really like flipping? It's not a huge amount of guys that are really flipping houses compared to like, you know what I mean?
I think there's a lot of people doing it but don't talk about it. Like, there's even a lot of realtors that will buy a house here and there and, you know, do a flip and just nobody knows. I have a few other business friends that do the occasional flipping and stuff like that, and you never hear about it. But
contractors will take a house on to keep their crew moving. There's lots of reasons why people buy a house, but like the flipping business, I think what was interesting what Jason was saying is like he spends you know, once he's made that decision, he's committed to completing that thing. If he missed something in his due diligence, well, now he's got to fix it. But I think the big thing too is like if you're going to be taking things in and like flipping them, or even just like going unconditional on an offer, you better know what you're doing. You better have done your research. Like, this business is it's like 99% research, 1% decision.
Yes. It's wild. Like, just this last project that I just got under contract like about a week ago, the wholesaler phoned me. I was there within an hour, and I gave him a 45 grand check in like 30 minutes. Like, I paid a 45 grand fee, but I had to run everything on my phone. I had no time because there was going to be a lineup of other people coming. And it was such a lucrative deal that I'm like, and we're not talking like a 200 grand flip. Like, this is like, I bought it for 400K after the wholesale fee, plus it needs 250 of renos, but it has an 850 ARV, and it has a potential of having that subdivision, right? So like you were saying, like, you have to know your stuff. It takes a while to get to that point, but you need to be so confident in yourself, your own abilities, not just your knowledge, but also your network. Like, what do I do if this happens? Who am I going to call?
And there's easier things to do. Like, everyone listening at home, there's easier deals to do than an 850 ARV. Like, this guy specializes in that.
Wow.
Because what's most people do in flipping is they don't have the control of the team. And so he's able to execute large renovations on schedule because, one, his old business was managing people to execute large projects on schedule. But two, he's now built a team to execute large projects on schedule. If you put a contractor on that 850 ARV house at 400 plus 250, it ends up being 300, and they end up eating your lunch. Like you end up doing the community service. So you gotta have like not only is he putting the money together, he's done the due diligence, but he's also got his hands around the contractor's throats.
Well, the other thing is
he's in it,
having multiple options. So like for me, when I was going through that process of making that decision, like on the fly, I was like, I have 3 options. Either one, I'm just going to wholesale it straight away to another guy and add a 5-10 grand fee, worst case scenario. Second is I just clean up the property, I sell it as is. I might be able to make 50 or 100K just for cleaning it up and selling it. And then the third one is like, now I'm going through all the due diligence, even before possession, I'm getting all my quotes on the roof, the windows, like everything. And so if I start to see, hey, you know what, I'm going over budget already just from the research I'm doing, well, then I can make that decision of like, do I want to actually do this big full rental, or do I just want to clean it up and sell it? So there's like, I always try and keep these different options open, and like even make some phone calls, see if you can find a realtor that maybe has a buyer for it as is. Like there's so many different things you can do. Even like some of the different leads we've got from our marketing, it's funny actually, I know one of them, Marlu, was trying to get under contract, but the one thing this lady wanted, when I just was like, what's going on? Like, why are you know, her biggest thing is she wanted to stay at the house, but she couldn't afford it. She got the house inherited, you know, she had grown up there. Now it was gifted to her, but she couldn't afford it. But she owned it free and clear, like a great house in Windsor Park. So I was like, do you want me to just buy it from you and you can rent it back? And so that's what we ended up doing, is basically we bought it at 80% of the appraisal. I bought it in cash. I can immediately go to the bank, refinance it without even doing any renovations. And now I can set the rent. She has like 300 grand of cash sitting there that she can pay her rent for years. So literally it's like, that's a prime example of like, some other people might pass on that because they don't have some of these different
they don't
tools.
want to be a landlord.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, literally, I bought that house 2 years ago, and no maintenance calls, no issues. Like, it's been a great experience. And that house has probably gone up in value like 70 grand since we bought it. So those are some of the, I have 2 like that, where I've just straight up bought it. I let the person stay there. They become the tenant. Eventually, they will either have to move out or figure out a way to make some more money. But I know that they have 5 or 6 years of runway to rent the house until they can kind of figure out their life.
What's that strategy called?
I got one for you. We'll talk after.
Doesn't John do that? The guy, his name is John or something.
Well, he did a clean deal, like where he pulled, like there's no buyback option on that.
Well, one there's a buyback option and one there's not.
The Windsor Park doesn't have a buyback.
Correct. Yeah.
She's just living there. She just didn't want to move. She just wanted to
okay.
stay in the house.
She owes money though.
Right. But she probably didn't have like the right credit and stuff to stay there. So she had to like come to the We Buy Houses guys to get creative, to keep her in her house, even if she didn't own it anymore. She could still stay there. And these are like, this real estate has a bunch of exits. But the thing is, and we're going to talk, you know, on June 19th a lot about how do you get into these houses to talk to these people to even have an opportunity to make a creative thing. Because like we could talk about all the exits that we've done, flips and assignments and, you know, buy burrs and all these things. But if you're not getting at deals and leads, then you don't have the ability to go like, well, maybe I could, and then, you know, like massage these things.
I feel like that's why having a personal brand is such a big thing too. Like, even with the marketing piece, like,
yeah, you've been doing that for 2 years now.
Yeah, like you have to market. If you don't have a brand, you always have to pay for marketing. You're going to rely on that. It's an expense. But if you build your brand, these last 2 big lucrative projects I have, the deal came to me. I didn't do any marketing. Someone came to me and said, hey, I saw your videos. I know you do these big flips. Do you want the first crack at this? I was like, absolutely. I'll be right there. Well, let's hash it out. Same thing with the other one. It was like a realtor. The family, it was an estate sale. They didn't want it to go on the MLS. They didn't want a bunch of people coming through the house because it was kind of a tough situation, really rough shape. And so they said, they phoned the realtor. They said, do you know anyone that would buy my house cash? So that realtor phoned me and said, hey, like, do you want the first crack at this kind of thing? And so that's why I think it's really important to build your brand with realtors or other wholesalers or just anyone. Just let them know, hey, I'm in the business of buying houses, and it's up to me. Anytime someone comes to me, I say, what can I do with this lead, right? Like whether it's a lead on a property, maybe it's not for me, maybe I wholesale it to another guy, but I'm in the business of solving problems and connecting people together.
Yeah, it's a huge business, man. There's always deals happening. There's always because we're in the business.
Well, you
of,
look at any market. You look at any market. You say there's like a million people in Winnipeg. So there's probably, the way we used to do the math was, if there's a million, for every million population, there's 100 certified deals, the killer deals every year. And if you know that there's 10 people in real estate in your city that are really doing it, there's 10 deals for each of you. Now, one guy might do 30. He might just eat it everyone's lunch, like Marlou. He might just eat like 3 or 4 people's lunch. So then now there's 70 deals for the rest of us, and he did 30 of them, right? But, you know, you look at, even if you're in a small town outside of town, like if it's got 100,000 people, there's at least one deal for you to do in some small town. And even in small towns, the number of people that can like absorb it, like how many people do you think are flipping in Steinbach?
Yeah, not a lot. There's zero
There's a
we
few.
buy houses market. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm just getting started with some of the marketing.
You live
in
out that way,
area.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could capitalize the whole Steinbach market. That being said, there is like a few guys who are already capitalizing in that market in different ways. But it's to say, like, there's enough opportunity for everyone, but you got to be branded, or you got to be doing the marketing. Like, your phone doesn't just ring. Like, you just because you think, oh, I want to be in real estate, it doesn't mean it's just going to happen for you. But if you tell everyone that you're doing it, someone will bring you something.
The other thing is, you have to be a good person to deal with, because what's going to happen, like, you know, you go to a guy like Marlu and you're like, hey, I don't want to pay you a 10 grand fee. I want to give you $5,000. Do you think he's going to call you next time? It's like, you know, you can sniff it when someone's a rookie and they're making things difficult. They got all these questions. They're all skeptical. They're in, they're out, they're in, they're out. It's like, people want an experienced investor to show up and say, hey, yeah, let's do it. It's done. You walk away. There's no more talking. And so that's just like a whole nother piece of the puzzle, is like, you constantly got to be growing your knowledge, your confidence. Even for me, sometimes it's like, maybe I don't know what to do, but I know someone who does. And so now that is part of my team. Even like that big deal that I took down, on the way there, I called my realtor. I said, can you send me comps right now? Like, I'm going there now. Well, I have a realtor that's willing to drop everything and do that because of my track record, because he knows that is going to go to him eventually. And so
I think that one is talk about new guys who are coming into the business. Like, when you're finding these wholesale deals, like, people come into the showings, everybody's excited, but then you realize, how many people can you bring in until you need one active investor who can buy this deal? So that's why now it's like, your list starts off high. You might have like 20, 30 guys, and like, now it becomes like 5 guys, you know, who might be serious to buy this deal, right? And usually that's how it is. You have a lot of guys coming to the showings. It's like, well, one guy is usually buying the deal. Like, why is he always
buying everything?
Why is he always buying that deal? But then all these guys are just looking at the house. It's like, what's? And then it makes you wonder if you want to. But I think you got it on the ball, because it makes sense.
Fear, right?
You know,
Fear of making a mistake. But
I remember one time you had that house on Elm, and we show up and there's like probably 10 people all wanting to buy this thing.
We sold that thing short. We should have just held one day longer.
But literally, like, I think the first showing, everybody was hesitant, and we were all walking around, kind of same thing. It's a big reno. You're doing your numbers, humming and hawing. And then all of a sudden the next day, 2 people show up at the same time, and it was basically a bidding war for this house. And the guy that took it, literally, like, I don't even think he did a full loop in the house, and he just took it right away. Like, and so it's like, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily wanted that deal or not, but that's what it takes sometimes, is just that courage. You have to be careful that you actually know your stuff. And
that was the thing. He knew his stuff. Like, there's a certain point in real estate where you don't even, it becomes like second nature to feel it out. Like, I can usually sit in front of a house and be like, ARV something something, and I'll be in the ballpark, but only because I've been doing it 11 years. And even then I've been wrong. So there's no, that's the one thing that you have to be careful of too in this thing is like, don't ever think that you know everything. In fact, knowing things can actually hold you back, but you need to know people who know things, and you call them and you say, what do you think?
And get multiple opinions too. Like if you go to one realtor, they might say like, oh
conservative. He's like, could get 300. And then the next realtor's like, I just sold him down the street 450. And so you have an opportunity where the other agent was like, very
doesn't
coy.
know much. I think one thing I've realized,
Just knows what he knows.
Yeah.
You know, and then the more people you ask, it's kind of like I think it was Henry Ford about the monopoly. He was taken to court for a monopoly. They're like, you can't control this much power and influence. You can't possibly know this much stuff. So they had him on trial, and he's like, well, I don't need to know everything. I know all the people who know everything, so I just ask them and they give me the answers. And then I make decisions on expert advice. And it's never been easier with AI. You can literally just have it tell you what to do every single day and go out and execute and do that. But the thing is, it can't do the things for you.
That's where
information is nothing without doing something with it.
Yeah. So tell me, talk about that though, because a lot of people think they know a lot of stuff. Like until you actually get in the trenches,
worthless.
you gotta get in the trenches, like to go. Cause
I'll take someone who knows nothing but can execute exactly over someone who thinks they know everything and then hesitates on doing anything, because there's people who know, like I find the people who know the most do the least, in the sense that they're very like, they'll know so much that it'll paralyze them with indecision.
You need to combine the confidence and the knowledge together. I think for me, like I always try and be a lifelong learner. So whatever room I'm in, I'm always asking questions. Like even before I got into real estate, when I was in kind of the corporate world doing project management, managing people, even before that as an electrician, even before that, it's like all these different opportunities in life are always preparing you for something. So how do you learn how to negotiate? How do you learn how to work through other people? How do you learn how to like create value? All these different things. And so I think as a real estate investor, it's just that on steroids. You're just constantly trying to learn and improve and put yourself in the best position to succeed. So you want to put good people around you. You want to work hard. You want to make good decisions. You want to do research. And then at some point, you just got to trust yourself and do it. But there's nothing wrong with, like, say there's someone who's 19 and he's like, oh, I want to get into real estate. It's fine to go work a job for 5 years and learn life. Like you can learn real skills that's going to be super beneficial. Go work construction. It's going to make flipping way easier because you're going to understand, right? So
you're not going to get taken advantage of.
Exactly, yeah. Even like, for me, like kind of talking about branding and stuff like that, people often like, how do you raise money? How do you actually put the deal together? Your coworkers are a great place to raise money because they see you working every day. Like if you're a machine at your day job and you're working hard and you have loyalty and honesty and integrity, all these things, people are going to say, yeah, I'll invest with you before your friends and family even will, because they see you, right? So like no matter where you are, you have an opportunity to learn and to create value and opportunity. And so for myself, like anyone that comes to me, I'm always saying, how can I turn this into an opportunity? Either I can coach them if they're interested in real estate, but they have zero knowledge, zero money. Sure, I'll coach you, right? And you'll pay me a fee, whatever. If they maybe they have a lot of money, but they don't have the time, they don't want to get involved. Sure, you can be an investor and I'll take your money and give you a return, right? Maybe they have nothing, but I'm like, hey, you know what? Go bring me a deal, right? There's always some way that you can create a win-win partnership. And I think that's what real estate is just win-wins at scale, right? So
yeah, building that trust. Earlier you talked about paying someone 45. A lot of people are like, they're just hesitant. They're just like, it's like how much, like they don't know that they can actually, like they don't do the research enough that they can actually make money this, because it's the whole like fear and greed, because they're like, oh, like if I pay X amount of dollars, but it's like they forget how much.
Well, it's interesting, like there's a mindset piece that I learned really early working with my mentor, Stefan Ornio. I used to work as his like number one guy. And we were going to pick up my Jeep. I had it in the shop, And we come up to the counter, and the guy, I'm like, so what's the damage? And the guy says, oh, it's going to be about 7. And Stefan's like, $7,000. And he was like, what the, like, you just throw that thing out. I'm like, no, Stefan, this is $100 decimal place in here, $700, because he was in $1,000 on everything. Like in real estate, there's nothing that happens for less than $1,000. If you're flipping houses, is there anything you do for that's less than $1,000? Like for the guy to show up and like clean, like really clean the house, it might be $500, but to really clean it, there's probably some maintenance. Like it's always 4 decimal places. Like even when you're on your phone, I don't put $200,000. I go 200.
Yeah.
10K, 1K. There's nothing below 1K. And so when people are thinking about real estate, they get really like, even the size of the numbers can throw them off the game. Like I remember the first offer I wrote for 99,000, no conditions. And I was like, this is a lot of money. I can't believe it. It's $100,000, you know, like, but it's actually only 99K, which is like nothing. If I say, hey, do you want a deal for 94,000? Yeah, 94K. Yeah. And so the earlier you can, like, if you can't break that number down in real estate and just start thinking in thousands, just look at it like a car, you know, like a car's, what's the most expensive used car? Like 20 grand, 30 grand. You can probably find something really nice, 50K, an old Suburban or something. But if you can just look at that old beat up house and say, well, that's just like a beat Honda Civic. And you know that you can buy a beat Honda Civic for $2,000 and put in $1,000 and sell it for $6,000, yeah? Same as real estate flipping. You buy a beat house, you put some money in, you sell it for more. And as long as you understand the numbers, like you look at Facebook Marketplace, you say, what's the most expensive Honda Civic out there? Oh, well, the same year is 6K or 8K. And this one has the same mileage, so we're checking now vintage. And this one's like needs work, and this one doesn't. And how much does that work? Well, I'd probably get a shop to do it for like $2,000. I'm into it for $4,000. I can sell it for $8,000. It's gonna maybe cost me a little bit to do the transaction, like marketing and stuff. Boom, I made $4,000. And you take it to real estate. You say, okay, that same numbers go the same way with Jason's 800K deal. He bought it for 400K. He's gonna put in 200K. He's into it for 6. There's 200K. Can he make money?
Yeah, so it just becomes a numbers game at that point.
It's the mindset of thinking in 4 decimals and dropping everything under $1,000. When I started doing that, when I stopped writing 1,000, 1K, 2K, 10K, 100K. When you start thinking in K, thousands instead of hundreds, then your problems, you know, like we've had, you know, business problems. If you have a problem in your life, let's say you've got a 5 decimal problem, which is like your credit card, right? Let's say you've got a $20,000 credit card that's killing you, right? If you're in a business that's making you 5 decimals in a year, you're not going to solve that problem. If you have a $90,000 job and you've got a $20,000 credit card problem, you've got a problem you can't solve. If you want to solve a 5-digit problem, you need a 6-digit business. If you've got a 6-digit problem, you owe $100,000, you need a 7-digit business to solve it this year. If you want to solve it over 10 years, go ahead. Keep doing 5-digit business and have 5-digit problems, and maybe you can carve that thing down over 5 years. But if you want to solve your life problems, we'll talk about this on June 19th. You want to solve your problems, you got a $10,000 credit card problem and you're making $50,000 a year, that's going to be hard to solve. You need to make $100,000 and wipe that $10,000 out. And the only way to really do that is to get into a business where everything's 4 decimal places. If you're in a business where you're doing 300, 500, 600, you know, I would dog you all day about your phone business. You're gonna have to sell. How many phones you're gonna have to sell this month, Hanny? How many things you're gonna have to sell?
The thing though is that the skills you're learning there, in my
I told him that I already mastered the phone game. I said you got to get out. You're selling $10 hot dogs. You got to sell
like the amount of stuff that I've flipped in my life: cars, motorcycles, tools, lawnmowers, machines, whatever. Like everybody starts somewhere, and I think that's huge. Like if you can successfully flip 100 phones or 1,000 phones or whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
that's a great path to get into real estate.
Yeah, you learn all those skills.
If you're struggling to find money to do your first deal, maybe you start flipping cars. Maybe you're like, hey, if I can buy this Honda Civic for $5,000, clean it up, take some nice pictures of it, sell it for $9,000. Well, there you go. Yeah, you're not going to be a
But we
millionaire,
both know we don't need money to do real estate.
Well,
Yeah.
but
We should have maybe.
But some people, if you've never done a deal and you don't have maybe some of these connections, it might be hard to raise your first money for the deal.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
I don't think people should start doing deals right away. I think they should learn how to find deals.
I think what Bryce is talking about the when we started working together like 2 years ago, when you talk about because
I told you to shut it down.
yeah, because I think I got to a point where
Focus.
I was probably selling like 500 like devices, and we were doing a lot of wholesale, moving them from Winnipeg,
Yeah.
Calgary, all that stuff. But I think what happened was you get to a point where you're thinking about doing one deal that can change your life. Like $1,000 was a lot of money. Like if I sold like a 200 devices and I made $1,000, like that's good for like a whole day worth of money, right? So you're doing that every single day. You're looking to make 1,000 every single day. Okay, can I make 1,000 today? Can I make 1,000 today, right?
Yeah.
But then you get into real estate, it's like that's just one deal. It's like I'm like, okay,
Don't
so
get too excited. If I said, "Oh, I got a $1,000 wholesale,"
that's
you excited?
No. That's why,
good. That's
yeah,
good
yeah.
money. If there's two
Yeah.
people, like I was at a dinner party and my daughter's boyfriend asked me a question. He's like, if someone gave you 10 grand, would you keep it or would you put it all on red or black at the casino? And all the kids who are like 19 and 20 are like, I'd keep it. But like, are you excited by 10 grand? Would you, if I gave you it and you had an option to keep it, or you could put it on red or black, 50-50 shot and doubling that up. But you didn't have it before. And everyone who was older, who had seen 10 grand, who've held 10 grand, said I'd let it ride because I didn't have it a second ago and I might have 20 and I didn't have it before anyway. And all the young people who've never touched 10 grand wanted to keep it. And that scarcity, that thing will keep you flipping cars, will keep you out of real estate. All those skills are great, but the sooner you can get out of the smaller potatoes and get into larger things, all those sales skills that you did when you're door-to-door business, like whether you're a weed man or whatever, the lawn care company, as soon as you can get into the bigger tickets, like even for me, now that I'm in this, I'm thinking, okay, can I just I love wholesaling, I love selling, I love finding an opportunity and moving it. Can I do helicopters? Can I wholesale jets? Can I wholesale a private jet and move from 5-figure commissions to 6-figure commissions? Can I consistently do 100K private jet wholesales? Yeah, probably. Because the fundamentals of wholesaling, find a lead, find the contract, tie it up with the condition, find someone who wants it, who's in the business of buying that, wants the discount, you can make a margin, boom. So real estate, yeah, is great. But the sooner you can keep stepping, find the next thing. And so I'd always say to you, phones are cool, but it's got a ceiling. Mm-hmm. But all the skills you have.
Yeah. So,
but I would argue, if you
Let's
got
argue
something
then.
that's working for you, why not ride it and scale it? Is there a chance?
Because you only have so much time, man.
Yeah. No, I think
but think about the thousands of businesses that are across Canada where it's some goofy thing where it's like, oh yeah, we do duct cleaning or we do window cleaning, but there's people that scale that to the moon. Could you do phone businesses across Canada with a few VAs and some local touch points?
Yeah, I was actually doing it. I had a bunch of VAs and we were doing. I think it got to a point where I was already moving. I think the reason why wholesaling is lucrative is because no money down, right? It's like with this though, I have to put in 50 grand. I think I'm max.
Employees and all that.
I got about 100 grand in inventory, so that's not even overhead. So if I got expenses coming in as well too.
But how much were you making a day?
Like I said,
maybe half of whatever.
I was probably in it for a good run was probably right after COVID, right at 2024. It was because everybody was looking to.
But were you actually making $1,000 a day or something?
Yeah. So I think I got up to close to 200 grand or so. Yeah, close to. But that's not even before net. So whatever that takeaway was. And then I was doing it all myself though. So no employees, no nothing, just complete runway. So then it got.
Well, just imagine if you rode that for 2-3 years and you crafted it to the point where you had someone else doing the work for you, or
well, that's the other thing I kept telling you. I never really told you to like quit it. I told you to like sell it or employ someone, because like we're limited in time. Like that's the number one reason you got out of your business, the business of being in someone else's business, is that like we only have so much time on this earth, and we only have so many years in. Like I'm 42 now, like wholesaling's gonna look like I'm gonna look like a skateboarder in my 50s out there, like, hey, I'm looking for deals. Like I gotta start transitioning to bigger things now, because it's, you know, it's cool, but it's like being a skateboarder in your 30s. Like unless you're Tony Hawk, it's not cool. Like
yeah, and I think that's the thing
like,
with time. When you're younger, you feel like you have a lot of time, because now you,
and they do.
Yeah,
they actually do.
Yeah, you got a lot. I mean, I'm 26, so I don't know how
no
old
kids, eh? 26, no kids,
having a lot
chilling,
Hey,
going
man,
to play shooting basketball.
Obsession though, you know, like Jason was talking. I've been obsessed for like the last 6 years. I've been doing this for like. It's not just, you know, 3 years.
You do lots of stuff,
you know,
more than I could do.
Yeah. So it's
I
like
have Timbit soccer to go.
But I think it's the focus though. I think a lot of people are like, especially young, because there's so many opportunities, right? You could do events, you could do podcasts, you could do real estate, you could do phones, but it's like, what do you want people to actually know you for? So I think I've tapped into different things. I think one of them is the community, which is I really like being around people, like you said, building relationships, because I feel like the money is gonna come at some point, you know what I mean? Which has came over the years, but it's like, how do you want people to actually remember you, right? And I think if I get remembered as a real estate guy or whatever, cool.
Well, for a long time it was Hanny Mobile, right?
That's what it was. Yeah, that was the whole branding thing, right? But I think at the end of the day, I think you're still the brand, though. People still buy you, because when they say build trust from you, that's who they're buying from, right? And so. Yeah, man, I think this conversation is getting kind of deep, and things are kind of happening. But tell me though, Jason, earlier you talked about like why you did this, why you went all in. It's been a year now. What do you think about that decision you made? Do you think this is, because this, like you said, we talked about earlier, like you said, like people should get into this business, the $1,000 house, but it's like
still like such a low ceiling. There's so, like, you can on a Saturday just go and knock on some doors. Like the barrier to entry in real estate is effort, and that's what keeps a lot of people out of it, because they're just like, maybe they're scared or maybe they're whatever, but it's like, if you go and do things, you will have success in real estate. Knowing the right things, we're going to talk about those things on June 19th, like at the event. We're going to talk about the things that will shorten the path to like getting success, but you can just like fumble your way around in real estate and actually like stumble into an old man. Like one time I was flipping a house, and I was doing the after video, you know, you put your suit on, you walk around, right? And I looked down the street, and there's this old man just pounding a for sale sign from the 60s into his front yard, because he used to be a realtor in the 70s. And when I just go over there and I just start talking to him, like, it's not like I'm in real estate, but anyone could have just been standing out front of the street and noticed this old man punching a for sale sign in the front yard. Like, it's not going to happen at home, but it will happen if you go outside. It will happen if you call people outside. Like, you got to go outside, you got to do things. And like 100%. The thing with the job, and like with your job and with your job, even when you were in your job, I was like, when are you gonna go full time in real estate? I can sell you more stuff. That'd be awesome. But I also wanted you to like go and like see how much, because you'd already had success. You'd already had success in the thing that you were doing.
So you need someone that can like believe in you and see that you have this potential, and you can really, because
sometimes how to do the right things, like what things are the things, and subjectively the right things, but you know, not wasting time that's very limited on the wrong things, doing things that maybe, I give you crap about your marketing all the time. Like, don't do that. You still do it, but hey, you'll learn your lesson the hard way, the long way.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole idea of like, why like networking and being around the right people, because there's people out there who like want to take your energy, want to like get all the info, want to like, they don't want to, got no value to provide you. But then when you meet people who are like that are doing the business, you're like, man, this guy's having success. I want to be around this guy. I want to be around Jason, Bryce, Marlou. Like, how are these guys doing it, right? And I think sometimes when you are in that job mindset or in that place where people are not doing it, you're like, oh, it's easy for me to just do this now, like you talked about earlier. So, Jason, going back to you, like, why this now, and what are you hoping to do for the future, and what you're looking to get out of your flipping business and your family as well too? You got a pretty big family, man.
Well, you're Mennonite, right?
Yeah.
He's federally obligated to continue to breed indefinitely. He's gonna have 6 kids.
Well, we're gonna have 4 now. I don't know. That might be the end, but yeah. So I mean, I think the big thing, like you were talking about, focus, and I think you got to have clarity and vision of where you're going. So like, if you just get up in the morning, you're like, I'm in real estate, but you don't know why you're in real estate or what you're doing or what you're building. To me, real estate is just a tool, right? Like at the end of the day, if I have this tool or that tool, I don't really care. I want to build this kind of a life for my family, right? A lot of that comes down to our values, to freedom, to, we want to be able to travel or spend money on this or that, or influence or be generous, all these different things. But real estate is just the tool that personally I think is the most effective. And I think that it lights me up the most. Like, I love seeing transformations. I love talking to people. I love analyzing numbers. There's all these different variables that you get to kind of combine into one beast. And we're talking here a lot about like wholesaling and lead flow and marketing and stuff, but there's people out there killing it that have never raised money from someone else. They've never done marketing. They just, slow and steady, they built up. There's people that own like 1,000 apartment buildings in Winnipeg that are creating huge amounts of wealth without doing any of this kind of stuff. And so I just think there's so many different ways to win in real estate, and you have to figure out, like, for you or for me, what do I want? What do I want it to look like? Personally, I don't love wholesaling. I don't love the idea of going to some ugly house that's beat up. Someone's in a rough situation. Now I got to try and get the house as low as possible. Then I got to try and go convince someone else to buy it for as much as possible so I can go feed my family. I would much rather go and build a 32-unit brand new apartment building and put a $100,000 fee on there, raise some money. I'm creating a win-win for me, for my investors, and for that town. Now they get all these units to live in. So there's all these different things, and that's why I'm spending a lot of time learning about multifamily, some of this bigger stuff like commercial real estate, because I know that's where I want to go. And so, yeah, I just think you need to figure out, like, maybe for you, you're like, shoot, there's already 12 other people wholesaling. Maybe you don't want to be the wholesaler. Maybe you want to be this guy, right? Like, you don't all have to do the same thing. And so, yeah, I think it comes back to clarity. Create your vision with, like, what exactly do I want life to look like? Then you reverse engineer it. Then you apply 100% focus, 100% energy behind that, and you'll be unstoppable.
Yeah, no, I like the multi-family idea. I think the goal is, like, how do you, because I do a lot of stocks, so right, I put a lot of my money.
That is the end game, right? That's the way out. It's like, it's kind of like with the stock market, the people who buy and sell short, like, yeah, you can short the market all day and like buy and sell and buy and sell. It's very active. But at some point, like I was saying earlier, like for me, it's going to be embarrassing like a 30-year-old skateboarder if I'm still wholesaling and when I'm 50. That's kind of lame, dude. So it's like you gotta have an exit hatch to the business. It's like car sales. Car sales, you can make a lot of money selling cars. You can't retire on car sales unless you're doing something with the money and moving up the ladder into the different things like finance. I know that people who get into the finance manager and start making that money, and but there's these sales activities that I think you learn a lot selling cars, for instance, but you're not going to learn about finance because you're going to just take it to the finance manager. So as a wholesaler, do I learn a lot about raising capital? No. Does Jason know more about putting deals together on about money? Yeah. I've helped people learn it and I know the deal, but he's probably raised more money and put more deals together because he likes that part. He likes to go and, like, I don't like dealing with people on the contractor side of things. I don't like that. And so he likes that. And so lean into whatever like ignites you. We were literally before this podcast, I was on the phone like, oh, we're going to close on this deal and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to go fix the basement. And I'm like, that's going to take energy away from what I do. I'm going to be over there doing that when I should be over there doing this. And then the focus thing comes back to is like, if Jason starts doing tons of wholesaling, you watch that flip out of town starts to suffer.
Yeah.
Because his guys are like calling him to figure out what to do next. And maybe he's in a meeting and he can't pick up and his deal gets stalled because he's doing some other thing that's like low leverage for how he does his use of the real estate tool.
Because you got to look at 6 houses when you're trying to wholesale. Because not everybody's trying to buy them.
And he's making tons of money, saving money by being in there and maybe doing some stuff himself. Getting good with the tools and having a second guy and hiring and making sure they show up and making sure they do a good job. Like the reason Jason's able to sell these things for a lot of money isn't because they're crazy opportunities, yes, but he's also does crazy product in the middle. You know, flipping is like, that's where people die a lot. Either they buy bad or they flip bad. Hire some whoever contractor and the guy doesn't know what he's doing, but you don't know what good work looks like, so you're impressed by anything, but yet the front door has like a gold handle and a silver lock, and it's like, you want full price? You want full price for the gold handle and the silver lock? Like, they missed it because the contractor doesn't know any better, neither do you, and now here we are with a underselling thing, and you would have been better off just wholesaling it to a guy like Jason, getting your 10 grand, going out and doing it again, and maybe after seeing enough product and doing enough product, that you could level up into the level 3. Because what we used to teach back in the day was level 1, bird dog. This is where you're just going out there finding things. Level 2, then you move into wholesaling. Now you actually know what things are and you move things. Level 3, flipping. You flip, make a bunch of money. Level 4, you start putting that into buying holds, burrs, things like that. And then level 5, you start lending all the money out. If he goes and builds that apartment complex and he's got equity in that thing, do you think the bank would give him like maybe $500K line of credit? Maybe. Do you think he could lend it then to a guy for 20% because he needs a flip loan? Yeah. And now he's a capitalist and he doesn't even do anything below. You got to climb that ladder. You got to know what a deal, you got to know how to find the owners. Then you got to know what a deal looks like. Then you got to know what doing deals looks like. Then you got to know about holding property and surviving vacancies and surviving midnight moves and all the stuff and evictions and like owning lots of property and the taxes and all that stuff. And then finally you're like, I've mastered holding it. The bank loves that I've mastered it. I also have a bunch of capital from the equity, all this pay down. Now I can relax and lend. But it all starts at the beginning. You know, on the 19th, we got to hit them with, how do you even get in the door? What does the lead look like? How do we get in the game?
Yeah, a lot of people are interested, man. So the thing is,
10 years, 10,000 hours,
10
right?
years, you have to master it. You got to pick something, like learn wholesale, learn flipping, learn, like, I think some people are just, for me, I'm always about, like you said, Bryce, taking action. Like when you first got into it, you said, how many months is it going to take? 3 months to get that first deal? Yeah. I'm like, Bryce, it's not working right now. I'm not getting, like, these flyers are not working. Then when you get that deal, and it's like,
oh yeah.
Then when you go to celebrate, I think we went to, what's that location at that
529.
529, yeah. Then when you go to celebrate, you're showing them the steak, like, yeah, because that's 3 months leading up to it. But I think it's, people give up. I think there's a guy who I referred you who wanted to do coaching, and then they just,
yeah, people give up in the first 90 days.
Just gone, just like that, because they just say, oh, it's not.
Well, here's the thing that's really interesting. People are going to come to the event and they're going to watch, or maybe they're not even going to come to the event. But here's the thing about real estate that we used to do at our training seminars, because we go, you know, the road show comes into town, learn real estate this weekend, 2 days only, blah blah blah. Okay, but why is it important that we go to these things? Because if you have a desire to do real estate and you don't act on that, it will eat you alive until you figure out if it is for you or if it's not for you. And if it's not for you, that's good too, because now you can stop thinking about it. And Buddy, who did it, who got in and failed out, that's great, because now he can stop thinking and dreaming about being a real estate guy, because he realized that's not for me. And that's just as valuable. So if you come to the event and you sit through the whole thing and you say, you know what, I don't want to do any of this stuff. I don't want to be in real estate. Great. You got the value out of it. If you come to the event and you decide, great, I want to do real estate, these are two paths of action. One is do something else, drop shipping, AI business, whatever. The other one is real estate, whatever, do it. But the thing that killed a lot of people, and we'd see like, let's say we had a room of like 100 people, 10 people would sign up on the weekend, and of those 10 people, like maybe 1 or 2 people of that group would have success and the other ones would fail out. About 5% of people who think they're going to do this. So when you look at it, you say, of all the other 90 people who sat there in the weekend, they probably left and then went to the next one and went to the next one and went to the next one. And just, it kept eating up their space in their head. Like if you don't want to do stock market, do the stock market. Figure out if you like it, and if you don't like it, that's worth something too. So when you come to these events like the one on the 19th, sit and listen about how the real business that we're going to talk about, how it actually works, what it actually looks like, what the things you actually need to do this thing. And if you think to yourself, I don't want to do that, awesome, you got your $30. And if you take a pen and paper and you write down all the stuff, and we're going to be giving out my course, the 8-hour training class, to anyone who buys a ticket, then you can go and do it and call me if you need help and all that stuff. But we don't want people to not take action in either direction. That's the worst thing that you could do, is paralyze yourself in the middle and not end up doing either thing. You're like, oh, maybe I could do it, maybe I do, and then you're every time your paycheck's a little short, you're like, damn, I wish I was in real estate. And then it's like whatever, like, but maybe it's not real estate, maybe it's something else. But like, find out if it's for you or not, because that indecision is worse than failing. I'd rather see someone lose 10 grand on a deal and say like, no, it's not for me, and never think about it again, than to just be wishing and dreaming for the rest of their days, and it just haunts their soul, like do it or don't do it. But the middle, that's the worst position. So hopefully when they come on the 19th, that we can give them enough vision and enough opportunity to do it, and decide that it's not for them.
Yeah, man. I think you guys are sharing a lot of good information here, Bryce, Jason. I appreciate. Thanks for jumping on this, man. I think people.
We got to get Addison AI to
Addison AI.
But that's the thing too. Like, people don't like. It's unfortunate he didn't make it. You should go and grab some clips, maybe of him at his office on whatever.
We'll do some stuff.
But for the people who are coming to that event or thinking about coming to the event, that guy knows his stuff. He buys immediately. He does tons of stuff. He's a heavy hitter. He's a great realtor. You probably see his reels all the time. But that's an example of someone who's just all in on real estate and has so much to teach everyone about getting in and what to do. So like, heavy hitter. Like, we're all going to be there giving it out. But
Jason, leave us with some word of advice. Close it out, man.
Close it out.
If you had to give our audience one word of advice, what would that be, man?
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point everyone comes to a point in life where you just got to rip off the Band-Aid, kind of like what Bryce was saying. Like, whether you're in or you're out, you just got to do it. And so I think these events are great. You come, you show up, you meet people, you see if this is what you actually want to do. And maybe there's a bit of a period after the event where you meet, you pay for some mentorship, you figure things out. But, the worst thing you can do is just kind of stay where you are and just be always wishing you were there or whatever. Figure out, again, back to clarity, back to vision, what you want. And then figure out, like, reverse engineer. How do I get there, right? So if this is what you want, how many people do I have to pay, or what kind of experiences do I have to do, or opportunities to get what I want? And so I think that's important for anyone that's kind of interested in real estate.
100%. Information is out there. You got to take action. So I appreciate everybody. Thanks for listening. This is the Rise Podcast. We're gonna close this thing up. Like I said, June 19th. Don't miss this, man. We're gonna start at 6 p.m. till 9. We probably might go till 10 a.m. because 10 p.m. the way people nowadays are going, they don't stop talking.